Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Nikolai. Today I'm here with Spartanic, the Guildmaster of Division VII. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing so good right now.
Glad to have you here, man. Fun story, actually. This interview is one whole year in the making. About a year ago, I actually originally asked you for the interview, and the universe just didn't want that to happen, but better late than never, right?
Yeah, anybody could tell you I'm pretty bad about that. So
Yeah, and we're both busy and just at different points in our lives and stuff like that, but we got around to it. I first want to zoom in on your Transmog. It's pretty awesome. While I'm doing that, man, how exactly did you come up with that name? It reminds me of like Sparta 300 kind of. Did that have any play in it, or is this something you came up with before that movie even came out?
yeah, I had a crush on the movie 300. I love those types of movies, and so my original character was Spartaxon, and then it was a resto shaman, but I wanted a melee for target calling and to kind of push in the more melee scene of RBGs. And so I offered the guild 1,000 gold to come up with a good name, and somebody, I had to have Sparta in it, and so somebody just combined Titanic with Sparta, and it became Spartanic. So
That's an awesome story, and I got your guild banner right in the back. It's the sword and shield. Does that mean anything specifically?
we have a motto: we protect and serve always, especially in the world PvP scene. Anybody that's not in our guild can always hit us up and say, "Hey, we need help," and we'll come out and help.
That's awesome. You are the guild master. Have you always been the guild master? Did you start this guild, or is this something that kind of you were asked to do? Could you explain that for us?
Yeah, I started it with a ex of mine, and we kind of just it wasn't Division VII at first. It was called Disciples of Disorder, and there's some history about that, and I know we'll touch base on that a little bit. But yeah, I've been Guildmaster for 7 years, so it's definitely
Wow.
been a ride.
Geez, yeah, that is a long time. What would you say the goal of your guild is? World PvP, PvP, PvE? Just to have fun?
We're a sociable guild, but we are primarily a world PvP guild, but we try to provide all in-game content for multiple people. So we do PvE, we do RBGs. In no way, shape, or form are we a 2200 guild. We'll probably have a team, but we'll never go to the ends of Mythic um, rating. So we do a little dabble of everything, but we are at the end of the day a sociable guild of many variety of players from your newer player on the block to your advanced.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool that you do a little bit of everything. Somebody once told me variety is the spice of life, so I can appreciate it, man. Do you want to let's get into the history of your guild. You said, you've been guildmaster for 7 years. Some people haven't even played this game for 7 years. What is the history? What server did you guys start on? Did you guys, were you guys always Horde, or did you play on the Alliance for a little bit?
We were Alliance on Kel'Thuzad back in the day when Indestructible and Intent did PvE, and we were a PvE guild called Disciples of Disorder, and we were a branch off of a guild that we weren't very happy with, and so basically what happened was this was back in the day before Asmongold was ever famous. Um, we made a deal with Indestructible and Intent that we'd beat their asses,
Ah,
and when
wow.
Dragon Soul came out, but we never did. We didn't even finish the last heroic boss until a month before MOP came out, so that was pretty bad. But we ended up hitting top 90 in the US for PVE, and a lot of our people had to quit. They had some emerald stuff. They had like Warlock had a baby on his, and and so we heard this thing about World PvP on this server called Kill Jaden. And we're like, okay, well, we don't know what World PvP is because if you know anything about Kel'Thuzad, it's 99% Alliance, 1% Horde. So we heard of these massive history of battles that we wanted to partake in. So we go to Kill Jaden, and I level up my Restless Shaman, and I get him to the Gates of Orc. It was a troll, so I only got to like level 10, 15, and there's literally 100 players right there at the gates. And we're like, what's going on, man? This server's super active. Holy crap. And then all of a sudden they're yelling, incoming, incoming. And I turn around and there's 200 Memis charging at the gates. And it was Alliance. It was Ruin Gaming versus Rec Room. And this was the most historical battle because I've never seen anything such as this. Like this was crazy. Like holy crap. So the world server crashed and I knew right then that I wanted to be a world PvP guild leader. And that's when Division VII was made. We had the funny story about the name is that it was actually spelled out. We had made a level 1 guild, and we are just going to bring the level 25 guild back when we had levels to kill Jaden. And so we reserved the name Division 7 spelled out. And we deleted it once we brought over Disciples of Disorder and tried to name it Division 7, but we didn't know that you had to wait 90 days before you could take the name again.
Yeah.
So we came up with VII. Actually, my ex did. She came up with VII, and I was like, nobody is ever going to know what VII means. I don't even know what that means. And so we got some opinions from our friends, and they were like, well, there's this one guy who pretty much made it pretty great. He's like, if they don't know what VII means, they don't need to be in your guild. I was like, all right, true to that.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's great. And so eventually you guys made your way to Emerald Dream. And I know I started playing about WoD, and around that time, you guys were on the Alliance. There's a lot of epic battles back and forth. And I remember about 6 months ago, there was like this big announcement like on Twitter and like all this discussion going on. They were like, Division 7's going Horde. Division 7's going to Horde. What exactly made you guys come to Horde side?
Well, we were Horde side first, and we had 2 powerhouses, Warsong Battalion and Division 7 on one side. And then you had cracklings of other guilds that really didn't make it. You have Warbringer, which was a really good guild to go against, but they weren't as large. They didn't like to participate in large-scale world PvP. So at the end of the day, we were just roleplay walking into the cities. And, at the time, if you know your history with Warsong Battalion versus D7, we hated each other. Even though we're on the same side, we all thought that, we were just jerks to each other, pretty much. We didn't like the way the guilds were ran. Himanshu didn't like the way I ran Division 7, and I hated the way he ran WSB. So we kind of ended up, WSB or Warsong Battalion, ended up flopping between both sides. Like they would go Alliance side to fight us, and we felt that wasn't really healthy. We felt like, one powerhouse needed to go, and Division 7 just had more balls to do it all the way. And so, we did it for the server balance, but at the same time, we also did it for the rivalry, and we had great fights. And then Warsong Battalion disbanded, and you had a lot of Alliance guilds, but you didn't really have a lot of, Horde guilds at the time to kind of balance it out. So we had our 7-year anniversary around November 2nd, and so we did, a meeting 2 months prior. And we said, what are we going to do? We have to do something epic for our anniversary. It's the number 7. It's got to be big.
Yeah.
And when your whole officer corps says, I want to go Alliance or I want to go Horde, you can't not go Horde. So we're like, hell yeah, it's the time. It's perfect. It's great. Let's go. And we did.
That's awesome. That's no cheap decision either. How exactly did you get everybody over here?
We always raise funds. We have generous guild members. We have generous leaders who, put in. I think one guy ended up donating like $200. We ended up having $800 in the pot to move people. So we were able to get the majority of our player base to Horde side.
Awesome. I plan on staying on Emerald Dream pretty much forever. Is that something that you guys have thought about? Do you guys think you'll stay on Emerald Dream forever, or any plans maybe in the near future to, maybe check out some other servers?
I plan to stay on Emerald Dream. Something we've talked about is we're going to create a Classic branch for when Classic comes out.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, and we always have a bad history with PvE teams. So more so because there's not really a tie between PvE teams and a World PvP guild. We're hoping to change that with me being the raid leader this time. But if it doesn't work out, what we're going to do is we'll probably branch out to another PvE server and probably have a PvE team there. And we'll never cross over, so don't worry about that. But kind of just give the players that want a PvE to take their tunes to another server to where they don't have to deal with the World PvP on the daily basis that Emerald Dreams offers. So.
Okay, that's cool, and I know I am extremely excited about Classic WoW, and that kind of leads me into my next question. How long have you been playing for? Like, at least 7 years, but like, did you start in like vanilla, or, and can you tell us a little bit about like why you got into this game? Was it a friend? Was it a personal decision?
Yeah, I started in Kata actually.
Oh, wow.
Like I think I made this guild 3 months into my history of WoW. So it was definitely. I mean, I've played other games, but World of Warcraft has always been this thing that you heard about. Like in high school, you heard about it. When you graduated and went to college, you heard about it. So a couple of our friends were playing with, my ex and I, they were playing. And so we were just like, let's go give it a shot. And so we gave it a shot and we loved it. Never looked back. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and I've been playing a long time too. This is just one of those games, man. Like, even if you take a break for a little bit, like you just always come back. It's probably one of the best games in the world. I'll just say it. I really like the game. But outside of, the WoW universe, like, this is a question I usually ask is, hypothetically, if we woke up tomorrow and, WoW didn't exist, what games would you be playing? Do you have a certain type, or is there a certain title that you want to mention?
Yeah, I love survival games. I love playing Ark Evolved. I've been a part of a large group of alpha tribes, especially Zunits and Precision and Pepper JC, if anybody knows anybody like that. H1Z1 is a really good one. I love H1Z1 Just Survive. So just those types of games. FPS, I played anywhere from Call of Duty to Counter-Strike to, Overwatch would be considered a FPS game. But
Yep. I'm big on Overwatch. Who do you like to play in Overwatch, if you don't mind telling us a couple characters?
I love playing Junkrat.
Junkrat.
That's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Um,
I'd probably try Guild Wars 2 too, if that's something that I wanted to get into. Like if WoW ever disappeared, I've heard a lot of good stories about Guild Wars 2 and the World PvP environment. So
I don't have any Guild Wars experience, but I do play a little bit of Final Fantasy 14 online, and that's because I played Final Fantasy 11 online, and that's another beautiful MMO. It is a little different from WoW, but if WoW ever disappeared, that's probably what I'd be doing with my time, aside from a little Overwatch here and there.
nice. I heard the GT5 is still running. They have some good role play on there too. Like people can pretend to be cops and stuff. So that's something that would interest me. That would be super fun. So if BFA wasn't here right now, I'd definitely be probably playing that game a little bit.
Yeah, I got a buddy who plays that nonstop. Does Division VII have any plans to maybe have like a Call of Duty clan or something like that? Like on the Blizzard app, it is set that Call of Duty is actually going to release pretty soon. I believe it's in October. I plan on getting it. Do you guys think maybe we'll start like a Division VII clan for that?
We always try to branch out to other games when they first come out. It kind of hinders the guild a little bit when so many people jump to another game. But considering, Overwatch was a huge success for this guild, I'm assuming that Black Ops will be a success because we'll have battle tag. And because Discord is an option now. Before, when we jumped into games like back in the day we used to try WildStar. And there was no tide connection, and TeamSpeak back in the day didn't really have your announcements or, you're at here or little things like that. So I feel like it should be more successful than in the past.
Okay, cool. For World of Warcraft, we've waited a while for this expansion to come out, and it did come with a lot of changes. Like there's Warmode, and all that good stuff. As a guild master, do you find yourself being targeted a little bit more now, since like there's like bounties and Warmode, and overall, are you enjoying the expansion?
I think I haven't been targeted. Honestly, there's a lot of CRZ when I leveled up, I didn't see any Emerald Dream player until I hit 120. And the only time that I actually had to turn Warmode off to turn in a quest was because there was an 80 CRZ group on a flight path. And I'm not going to pull, 180, 200 players that are leveling to wipe up, a 20-man group. So I just bit the bullet, turned it off, turned in the quest, immediately went back to org, turned it back on, and yeah, that was it.
Nice. As far as any sticky situations that may pop up on the server, or if you need backup, or maybe you just want to have partnerships with other guilds, are there other Horde guilds on the server that you guys would consider yourself close with or work closely with?
We have open relationships with every single Horde guild. When we came back, we tried to make sure that something like the Warsong Battalion versus Division VII, didn't happen. And I was a newer GM back then when we came to Emerald Dream, so I was probably a little bit more cockier than I am now. And I probably kind of tipped the boat a little bit with Himencio and myself's drama, and probably irritated him. So, and vice versa. So I wanted this come around when we transferred Horde to make sure that we were as polite and as neutral as possible to the drama, because I know there's some drama between Horde guilds right now, or there was, because people were bored. And so I feel like everyone's close to Division 7, I would like to think. But I feel like with the history of Ironsworn Regiment versus Division 7, I feel like there's a mutual respect for that. So I would definitely consider them one of our closest allies, but that's not knocking any other guilds like the Syndicate or Elves of the North or the Emboldened or any other guild like that who I didn't mention. So
Okay. Do you have any shout outs to give to any officers, or is there any people who I guess have helped you out on your journey here and you just want to give them a quick shout out?
Yeah. A lot of people who come and go from the guild would say that their time period was probably the best time period they've ever had. Being in the guild for 7 years, I can honestly say that I couldn't do what I have done. I couldn't make it through the bad to the worst without Maharat and Fuck Puppy. Maharat has probably been the best person I've ever had at Kojium, just because when I'm in a situation, and every GM makes mistakes. When I'm in a situation to where I make the same mistake more than once, it kind of really impacts the guild. So I definitely lean on him in counsel and say, is this the right decision? So Maharat is definitely the tip of my sword when it comes to any decision that I make. Any decision that I make, it's who I go to. And Fuck Puppy is just my shield. She definitely helps me in times of need. She definitely shields players who try to belittle me or bully me, or just she's overall protecting. And so those players I want to shout out to. I want to shout out to all officers who stuck with me and stuck by me, especially my veteran corps. I couldn't have done it without them. They are definitely the backbone of the guild. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome, man. Well, I greatly appreciate you taking some time. If there's a player at home watching this and they say, I got to join that guild, it sounds awesome, it sounds like it's right for me, how exactly would they go about this? Is it okay to contact you on Twitter, or should they contact you or somebody specific in game?
Yeah, they can do both. My BNet is always full, so it'll be hard to get me on BNet, but they can hit me up on Twitter or they can hit me up on Whisper, and I'll always reach out. Even if you're guildless and you want to come over, like let's say that you're from another server and you just want to try out Emerald Dream World PvP, you can always hit us up via Whisper or Twitter, and we'll bring you over. I know the server is not a fan of bringing CRZ over, but there's a difference between bringing one or two people that want to try it out and maybe transfer versus having a whole raid of CRZ. So
I agree with that. Dude, I'm so happy. It took a year, but we did it. You rock. I appreciate you taking some time and chit-chatting with me.
heck yeah, dude. You're such an awesome dude. I want to give a shout out to you, man. When you first added me to Twitter, I was like, who is this dude? Is he trolling me? Like, I can't tell. And then, like, you're just one of those dudes that just have the overall atmosphere of a great person, of a classy person, someone who doesn't get into drama, somebody who's always there for other people. And the server definitely needs someone like you. We definitely need you in the spotlight more. So I really appreciate you, dude.
I appreciate the love, man. I really do. And I'll have all your information down in the description. So if you are interested in joining Division 7, you'll know exactly who to contact for that. And for everybody watching at home, I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.